Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and on today's episode I'm going to see if this tool that I've purchased to do my MSD81 swap is going to brick a module. As I mentioned in the key video, if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link up to it in the corner. But I did manage to program a key to my car with this relatively cheap tool. But the main reason I bought it was actually to do an MSD81 swap. So to get that to actually be of any use, we need to be able to read ISNs from both CAS modules and DMEs. Now, I do have an MSD81 that I'm going to need to read its ISN and write to my CAS module. That's what we're going to have to do to get it to work. But before I connect my DME up to this tool, I wanted to test it on a spare MSD81 that I have. And that's what we have set up just here. Now this tool is also supposed to have the ability of doing it on the bench. So that's what I'm going to test in this instance. Now this is a MSD80 out of one of the E90 parts cars that we have. And it's really of no value. So if we brick it, it doesn't matter. And that's what I want to practice on before we plug this tool into something that's actually worth some money. Now, I've made a little bench harness here, and as you can see, I've actually got it connected to the MSD80 here, and I've also got a plug. Yeah, it's a transmission plug off a 6 HP, and if this goes to plan in this video, I want to go and see if I can read a 6 HP with the transmission out of the car as well. So that's the plan of what I've got here. Now, this is all sort of temporarily put together. It is soldered, but not very well, and I'll tidy it all up if this works. I don't have a bench power supply. This is what I'm using to do the this on the bench, which is a bit dodgy, and I have read about overcurrenting the DMEs, but this is all I've got, so we'll just see what happens. So what I have to do, forgive the angle, but we're going to connect that there. Okay, so the DME is now powered up, and I did go as far as to actually try this just before. Hopefully the GoPro is actually going to focus on the screen this time. But if we go in here, and if I go read module information, it should just refresh and give me all that data again. So we are connected to this DME right now. Now the thing that is tricky is reading these ISNs. So this ISN is in a part of the DME's memory that you're not supposed to be able to access. And basically what this tool does is put some, I don't want to say corrupt, but it modifies the firmware on the DME, which allows it to actually output this ISN. So this is what's going to take some time. I'm going to switch the GoPro over to time lapse before I click read ISN, and we'll see what happens. In fact, I'll do it live. But we're going to click read ISN, and it says read ISN requires program ECU again. So that's where it writes that software. It does take 6 to 10 minutes. We strongly recommend you connect your car to extra power, ignition switch on before continue. So I'm just going to try it. Connected, start, transfer, and receive. Enter programming session. All right, guys, I'm going to switch you over to time lapse and wish us luck. So there we go. It failed nearly straight away. I wasn't actually watching what it was saying as it failed because I was trying to set the GoPro on a time lapse. But it says reading ISN failed, upload part 1 of programming the ECU failed to update part 1. So it didn't actually, it couldn't write anything to the DME. Interesting. Let me see if we can actually read module information or if it's bricked. Okay, I can still read the DME. Let's just check what we're doing. Yeah. I'm going to try it again. See what happens. Start, transfer, receive. Enter programming session. Programming ECU failed to update part 1. It may have failed before I even started the time lapse. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of Googling, see if there's a common fault or something weird that I can change. But it looks like it doesn't actually work for reading ISN. So I've done a bit of Googling and there is literally no useful information on this. It looks like it just won't work at this point in time. Now, there were lots of people that complained about this VVDI tool not working properly, and I guess this is why. I will email VVDI, but from what I've read online, you don't get any support anyway, or they just ignore it. That said, maybe they will fix this feature in the future, and it will work with other DMEs. I'm going to have to do a bit of research before I connect this tool to my MSD81, because I don't want to brick the MSD81, but I did read that it will do MSD81s this way. We will find out in due course, but in the meantime, I have got a 6AT transmission that I don't mind if we brick that. So let's go and see if we can get it to work on a Trent. Okay, so I'm in one of our lovely storage sheds here. I've got a 6AT out of a, I think it's an 07 E90, and I've just double checked my wiring. Got no confidence anymore, but we'll see what happens. So we should be able to read EHP ISN. No, let's read gearbox status. Success. Wow, okay, that actually read it. Gearbox don't have ISN blank module authorization, yes. So after a bit of reading, it looks like it's only late E-Series in the E70. Basically the E-Series 6AT or ZF6s that have the electronic shifter, not a cable shifter like what's on the E90s, they're the only ones that have the ISN security code in them. So to fit or swap a 335 transmission, what we have here, you just need to update the VIN with WinKPF. So I've learned something, and maybe somebody else will as well. But it's kind of interesting that VVDI will connect to that gearbox while it's on the floor. It's actually just connecting through CAN bus. I've just got the OBD plug out of a spare wiring harness I had. Anyway, I'm kind of a bit tempted to see if I can read an MSD81 ISN. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? All right, I might try the MSD81 ISN on the bench. So one thing I've noticed with the MSD80, when I do read module information, it doesn't actually bring up the data version or the software version, which means I don't think it's actually fully reading the module. What I might do is grab one of the MSD81s, and we'll just see if we get a little bit more information on that screen. I'm still nervous about doing that. Anyway, let me go grab an MSD81. So here we have an MSD81. It is from a power pack car, which is kind of cool. What I'm thinking is, I actually spoke to someone before buying this who successfully used it to read an MSD81 ISN on the bench. So all I can think of is that the software that's on the MSD80, the firmware that's on there, this BIMTOOL just can't communicate with. So anyway, we'll connect the power back up with my bench power supply. And we'll go read module information. We'll see if we get any more info. So there we go. When we've read, we're still on MSV80. I better switch that back. So we go MSD81. We'll go read module information. So there we go. Reading the MSD81, we're getting the software version and the data version. So should we try reading the ISN? Should we risk bricking this? Yeah, why not? All right. Read ECU ISN. Go. Start, transfer, receive. We'll see if it goes further than it does on the MSD80. Erasing flash. Now this is where it errored with the MSD80. This is horrifically nerve-wracking, by the way. And what I might do is switch you guys. Ooh. Failed. Also won't read MSD81 ISN. Interesting. The last thing to try is actually doing it in the car.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
But this goes to show why these cheap well, basically the proper tools are like $5 or $6 grand, but these cheap tools around that $1,500 to $2,000 mark are a bit dodgy. They just don't do what they say on the box. Okay, I might... Yeah, bugger it. Right, let's go and try it in the E93 DCT parts car. We'll see if we can read it in there. Okay, so we have the tool hooked up to the OBD port in the car. The ignition's not on fully. The car is on charge. Car's actually been on charge for about 3 days. Let's go to ignition on. So we've got the ignition on. Let's see if we can read module information. Connecting to device. We have new data. We got the VIN. However, this one has not loaded the data version or the software version. So this is the issue that we were getting on the MSD80. What are you beeping at? Who knows? Right. We'll see if this will do a read ECU ISN. Now, this is what I actually need to do my MSD81 swap. I need the ISN from this car's DME to write it to my CAS module. So I really hope this works. Connected, start transfer, receive, enter programming session. Erasing flash. Kind of nerve-wracking. The car is doing something. The fuel pump's going crazy. Shit. Alright, ECU failed. Oh, that's not good. It has caused a problem. Fuck. Huh. I think I might have just bricked all 3 of my modules. Transmission fault, drive moderately. Well, there you friggin' go. Oh, it's fun. Fun's not the right word. Alright guys, so since you last saw me, which was about 8 hours ago, I've had a lot of forced learning going on and been speaking mainly to Arno, and he is just a genius with all this stuff. Again, I'm going to put a link to his Instagram. If you're in Europe, if you can post him your bits and pieces and you need to get anything done, like, his knowledge is insane. I spoke to a couple of other guys as well about trying to sort this out, but Arno did fix it. And I did brick the module. I've bricked 3 DMEs today. That's going to be a record. But like Arno initially said, the way that VVDI bricks the modules means you can generally still talk to them through OBD. And it took Arno, I just had a quick look, that was 50 minutes it took him to unbrick the DME and reprogram it. He's used WinKFP. I'm half asleep. It's been stressful. But he's also given me some advice on how to try reading the ISN again. There's a couple of things I didn't do which could have caused the issue. It looks like there is an issue with the VVDI tools. They want to work with the latest firmware. This module originally had this DME had its original programming from the factory, so it's never had a software update, and that could have been what's caused the issue with VVDI. VVDI is designed for the latest BMW software. The other thing was I didn't have a strong enough charger on the car, so it could have just been something as simple as a voltage issue. So anyway, I've got a 100 amp charger there. I'm going to plug it back in. We'll plug VVDI back in. We'll have another crack at it, and if it bricks it again, I'll be really annoyed. We'll see how we go. All right, it's got the charger running. You can see it is still pulling 15 amps, even though the car is very charged. Let's try again. So we've got MSD81, read module information. Hey, and this time we do have the software version. That's come up. Now, I'm pretty confident that you guys will know because you just watched it, but I don't think that loaded when I checked it this morning. We got the VIN number there. Car's there, seatbelts on. Is the ignition on? Yes, it is, because we've got the engine warning light. Cornering light, that error is there because the headlight's missing. Let's read the ECU ISN. Please switch ignition on before continue. Is the ignition on? It is, or else we wouldn't have indicator. I should feel like there's not a lot of lights on. Yeah, the ignition's on. We got park light and everything. Right. Continue. So Let's see what it does this time. Enter programming session. That seemed to load a lot faster. But this is what it would do. It would get stuck here. Erasing flash. Car's beeping. Module's doing something. Erroring. Oh, God. I really don't want to brick it again. Failed. Bricked it again. Wow. Joys of cheap tools. Well, I'm going to end this video off here. I know how to unbrick it, which I'm going to go through and do now, even though it takes ages. Yeah. Don't buy VVDI BIMTOOL if you want to do ISM reading or do an MSD81 upgrade. Guys, thank you very much for watching. A massive thank you to Arno. Again, I'll put the links to his business down below. Love it. God damn it.